If humans never discovered fire, would camping just be a group of cold people politely staring at raw mushrooms? Imagine the first family dinner with no roasted meat, no warm soup, no crispy anything. Just everyone chewing like their jaw had a second job. It sounds funny. Until you realize fire was not just a cozy orange thing that made shadows dance on cave walls. Fire changed the human body, the human brain, and the whole rhythm of human life. Without it, our story would not simply be missing barbecues and birthday candles. It might be missing cities, metal engines, late-night storytelling, and possibly the strange confidence humans have when we walk into darkness holding a tiny flashlight like we personally defeated the moon. Also, no toast, which is how you know this alternate universe is serious. Now picture an ancient night without fire. The sun drops and the world does not become romantic. It becomes a giant suspicious closet full of teeth. Every branch crack might be a predator. Every cold wind feels like a warning. A group of early humans huddles together, trying to stay warm with body heat, leaves, and optimism, which is not famous for being a great blanket. They cannot push back the darkness. They cannot keep smoke between themselves and insects. They cannot cook tough plants into softer food. They cannot turn a scary night into a glowing social circle. Without fire, sunset is not the end of the workday. It is the moment nature says, "Good luck, tiny nervous mammals." Here is the broken belief. We often think of fire as a tool, like a spear with better lighting, but fire was closer to a partner. It guarded camps. It made food safer. It softened roots, meat, and hard seeds. It gave tired mouths a break from chewing all day. That matters because chewing is not just boring. It is expensive. Raw food can demand stronger jaws, bigger guts, and longer eating time. Cooked food can release more energy with less effort, in a world without controlled fire. Early humans might spend far more of each day searching, biting, tearing, digesting, and hoping their stomach does not file a complaint. The mystery gets bigger when we reach the brain. Human brains are wonderful, weird, hungry little thunderclouds. They use a huge share of our energy compared with their size. A brain that plans, remembers, imagines. Jokes and worries about tomorrow needs fuel. Cooking may have helped make that fuel easier to get. Without fire, our ancestors could still be clever. They could still use tools. They could still cooperate. But the energy budget changes. Imagine trying to build a giant software update while your battery is always at 12%. Evolution does not hand out big, expensive brains for free if food stayed harder to process. The path toward our modern mind might have been slower, narrower, or completely different. Then comes warmth. Fire helped humans live in places that were not always friendly to hairless, emotionally complicated apes. Cold nights are not just uncomfortable, they steal energy, they make children vulnerable, they punish the sick. Without fire, moving into colder regions would be much harder. Clothing, shelter, and teamwork would still matter. But every winter would become a stricter teacher. Some groups might stay closer to warm climates. Others might adapt with heavier bodies. Better insulation or different routines. The map of humanity could shrink instead of spreading widely across mountains, forests, plains, and frozen edges. Our ancestors might remain clustered, where the night does not feel like the universe forgot to pay the heating bill. Fire also changed fear. Humans did not become brave because we stopped being afraid. We became brave because we built small circles of safety inside a dangerous world. A campfire turns darkness into a wall with a glowing door. It lets people see faces after sunset. Faces matter. Around fire, a group can share warnings, teach children, remember trails, plan tomorrow, and tell stories about the one cousin who definitely did not fight a bear, despite what he keeps claiming. Without fire, nights would be quieter, shorter, and more defensive. Less talking, less teaching, less shared imagination. Culture might still grow, but it would grow without the warm stage where human minds could gather and perform together. Now let us escalate from campfires to civilization. No controlled fire means no reliable cooking. But it also means no pottery fired hard in kilns, no easy clearing of landscapes, no heat-treated stone tools. And eventually no smelting metal. That is not a tiny inconvenience. That is history getting its shoelaces tied together. Without high heat, there is no Bronze Age in the familiar way, no iron tools in the familiar way, no steam engines. No electric grids, no rockets lifting from Earth on controlled explosions. The timeline of technology becomes a very long, awkward pause. Humans might invent beautiful things from bone, wood, stone, fiber, and shell, but a world without fire has a ceiling. It can climb, but every climb is steeper. Even the simplest miracle, turning clay into a hard vessel, becomes rare, fragile, or dependent on accidental heat nature provides. But here is an important twist. Humans are stubborn. We do not see a problem and politely leave it alone. Without fire, we would probably search for substitutes. Maybe stronger fermentation, maybe sharper tools, maybe warmer shelters, maybe clever ways to dry food in sun and wind. Maybe social rules that keep everyone close at night. We might become masters of shade, season, smell. And timing. We might know every edible plant like a living library. We might build cultures that worship daylight because daylight is the only safe kitchen, heater, and security guard available. This version of humanity would not be stupid. It would be brilliantly adapted to a much smaller toolbox. Still, adaptation has trade-offs. A no-fire humanity might have different bodies, bigger jaws, stronger teeth. Larger digestive systems and more time spent eating could become normal. Our days might be ruled by chewing schedules. Breakfast might start at sunrise and somehow still be happening during lunch. Children might learn early which raw foods are worth the trouble and which ones are tiny botanical pranks. Disease risk from food could be higher because cooking helps reduce many dangerous microbes and parasites. Social life might revolve around safe gathering spots, not glowing camps. Love songs might happen before sunset. Ghost stories might be shorter because nobody wants to stand in the dark for Act 2. The strangest loss may be time. Fire stretched the day. It created useful hours after the sun left. That extra time was not just for survival. It was for memory, for teaching, for gossip, which sounds silly until you remember that gossip can track trust. Danger, romance, and who ate more than their share of berries. Around fire, humans could become more human to each other. They could look at moving light, hear crackling wood, and turn experience into story, without that nightly gathering point. Imagination might have fewer rehearsals. Language might still develop, but maybe with less stage time. The tribe would still speak, but the darkness would keep interrupting. Now connect this to us. Modern humans still gather around artificial fire. We call it a screen. We sit in glowing circles at night, sharing stories, warnings, jokes, arguments, and extremely confident opinions about things we researched for 6 minutes. Our old brain still loves a light in the darkness. It still wants warmth, safety, faces, and a reason to stay near the group. That is the cognitive twist. Fire did not only help humans conquer nature. It helped nature redesign humans into creatures who need shared light. Maybe civilization is not just stone walls and metal tools. Maybe it is the habit of gathering around a glow and saying, "Stay close, I have a story." So if humans never discovered fire, we might still survive, but we might not become this version of us. We might be clever daylight specialists with stronger jaws. Smaller worlds, shorter nights, and stories that end before the predators start walking. No roaring furnaces. No glowing cities, no rockets, no midnight noodles. A tragedy, honestly, but the deeper point is that fire was never just a physical flame. It was a social machine, an energy machine, a courage machine. It turned cold, dark space into a place where humans could think together. And maybe that is why we still chase little circles of light today. So what do you think if humans had never found fire? Would we still become civilization builders, or just very smart animals with extremely tired jaws?